freaking first cut. Golly.
Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your mega preview pod for this week's Memorial. And joining me to break it all down, Greg DuCharme is here. Greg, what's up?
What's going on, boys? Haven't been with Coach in a long time here. I haven't been on the preview episode in quite a while. I'm fired up. I'm looking forward to it.
You're in the comfy chair with the Madonna mic. I'm expecting great things from you today.
Yeah, you might get another lean back.
Yep. This is when you know he's getting serious.
Yeah. This is the perfect place to be the backup office for picks.
There you go.
This is where they all are.
Speaking of the coach is here. Good to have you, Coach.
Yeah, I just signed a new deal with CBS. Part of that deal is I get to hand pick who I'm on the shows with. So clearly this week I showed Greg and I said, Mark, sit your butt at home.
Kyle Porter rounds out our foursome for today. KP, before we went hot, you described something as vanilla, and I won't disclose what you described as vanilla. But did you know that even though it is synonymous with blandness, vanilla is one of the most complex flavors in the world?
Where do you get this stuff?
Yeah,
vanilla.
Rick, I don't for some reason I don't think that's the first time you've told us that.
Because it's like my thing. Yeah. Vanilla is my soapbox issue. And also it needs a better PR team, KP. It's getting thrown out there as this bland, boring flavor. It is not. It is complex. It is a beautiful thing.
So I got a couple of things. One, the first comment in our chat, in our public chat, is an over-under of 2.5 minutes for me to bring up speed. Bang the under, 220.
We're at 220 right now, yeah.
So 2, great week of golf. I'm watching NCAAs right now.
Yep.
We have a chance for an Oklahoma State OU final, which would be awesome. We got Olympic, U.S. Women's Open. Awesome. Yep. Olympics, incredible. And then we got the Memorial, which is it was kind of like a major last year, the way it was set up. So just an awesome week of golf. And then 3, my soapbox issue. I hope that they're not trying to sponsor this podcast. Chic-Fil-A, overrated. I've publicly said, Coach is going to kill me.
I'm going to kill you. What? There is not one thing they do that is what?
Yeah, it's overrated. I'm sorry.
But you can't just throw that out there and not have examples. You got to be specific. Best drive-through numbers, period.
Yeah,
Best
okay, listen.
Period.
Here's but it's all, I'm not saying it's not good. It is good. It's overrated. People treat Chick-fil-A as if it's not fast food. It's still fast food, but for some reason people act as if it's healthy or it is what it is, and it's good. We go there, we take the kids there all the time, but it's overrated. People view it in a way that they shouldn't view it.
I feel like you just cost us a major sponsorship right there. I really do.
I'll try to get it back. The best part about Chick-fil-A is the milkshake, specifically vanilla, which we've talked about already, very complex. You know what else is vanilla in a good way? CONCACAF, baby. International soccer returns as CONCACAF's top teams face off at the Nations League semifinals in Denver starting Thursday, June 3rd. The U.S. faces Honduras as the Americans, led by Christian, I'm going to mess this one up, Pulisic. Sorry, guys.
Pulisic, it is correct.
Thank you. Look to take advantage of one of their most talented generations in history. Next, regional powerhouse Mexico squares off against Costa Rica as they look to set up a final showdown with their arch rival and neighbors to the north, the United States. Stream both semifinal matches live on Paramount Plus. Head to ParamountPlus.com/Nations League to get started. That's ParamountPlus.com/Nations League. How's that, Greg?
Rick, I think it's great. I'm going to be there. I'll see you there.
I'll see you there. I'm not sure that's actually true. Okay, gentlemen, it's time for storylines. The big storyline this week, of course, is the renovations that were done at Muirfield Village. And Greg, I feel like you're probably the most qualified to try to talk us through this whole thing. It's been
Coach and I are not.
I mean, I'm not the one. Major renovations that started literally while play was still going on last year. There's been trees added. Essentially, every single green complex has been altered. All new bent grass greens. I mean, talk us through what we're dealing with this week.
Yeah, this is I mean virtually every green is new grass and new contours. And that means a couple of things. Like a lot of times when a course has some changes done to it, it plays better for some, but at the PGA Tour level, it may not play a whole lot different. This is one of those renovations where I think it will play a lot different, with completely new, at least from the way I'm reading it, right? Completely new green contours and complexes. They moved a number of the greens back. It seems like they're all back and left. That's a significant difference. It really changes the golf course. I always think the way you play a golf course is from the green backwards. And when all the contours are different, ridges are in different places, your carry numbers change, your yardage book change, angles may or may not change. I don't know that yet. But a lot of your numbers, sight lines, and targets will change. So, yeah, there's going to be a new golf course to learn tee to green, and there's going to be a new golf course to learn once you're on the greens. Which I believe is significant. I thought, and we had talked about earlier in the first look, and that typically when golf courses are regrassed, they get really firm. But it does look like there's some rain tonight and tomorrow as well, which may soften it. I imagine it'll soften it a little bit. So I expect it to play kind of a long golf course, but it may not play as difficult as we had last year.
Coach, when you were kind of going through your process for this week, did you factor this in at all? I think there's an interesting idea of guys that have a lot of course history somewhere, maybe even won this event before, and getting it just a little bit different, not in the way they expect it. Maybe first timers who have never even seen it might have not a significant advantage, but a little bit of an advantage. Is this at all a consideration?
First and foremost, I want to make it clear I was not offended by you saying that me and KP were not the ones to ask for this particular question. And then I will say this. What I factored in when I did my handicap is the fact that I looked at how last year, where 1 week it was, Colin Morikawa and Justin Thomas, and then everybody said, all the golf gurus, all the golf smart, it's going to be completely different. Just, like Torrey Pines, it's a completely different. It's U.S. Open. But it actually did. They actually said it way different, way more difficult. But you also saw guys that had played well here before, and you saw Jon Rahm dominate. Now, I went back to guys that have won here before, that have had history here before, because just because it's a renovation, and just because it's all greens in different places, you still have to stand on essentially the same tee boxes. You're still going to hit it to the same fairways and get it into fairways, because the rush or the rough, as we know, is always incredibly lush and chewy and juicy. And to me, that never changes, no matter what we're talking about with the greens. So you're going to see from my picks, I went with guys that are veterans here, veterans on the PGA Tour. I also believe that this week, everybody's looking at this week as the official start to summer. 14 weeks left until the FedEx Cup playoffs, 2 weeks until the year's third major. I think now top 5 in the FedEx Cup are here. This is a big game hunting week, and I think that's where the big names will step up.
I think it's an interesting idea, Coach. And what I think is most important, KP, is the renovation still done by Jack, right? Like there's it's not like someone new came in and said, let me just, take away the aura of this place or kind of design it differently. I think the trees, especially on some of the par 4s and 5s, could be interesting depending on the angles. I'm excited to start getting some guys out there, start hearing some feedback from the course, all that good stuff.
Well, I saw Xander on it. He said that he played the back 9, and he kind of insinuated that it was a very fair renovation. Like he was talking about how the green on 16 was kind of goofy before, the way it was set up and some of the pin locations you had. The big thing for me at Memorial is that Jack has the ability to say, hey, this is how I want the course set up. And that's not something that we get at most PGA Tour stops, right? So the renovations it's not that they don't matter. They do matter. But what matters more is, are you getting major championship-like conditions, which we did last year, and you see 279 win the golf tournament. Jon Rahm, almost shot 280 to win it, which is a really high number for a regular tour stop. So that's the part for me. I saw where Jack Nicklaus II, his son, was saying that the way they redid the greens, it makes it easier to get them firmer more quickly. But then I saw Jack Nicklaus talking on Tuesday about how because they were redone, they can't really dial them up like to the level that they want right now. So I think next year is actually the year where you could see it play more major championship like. And this year, I think it'll still be hard, but I don't think it's going to be as hard as it was last year.
Interesting. Greg, let's put a bow on kind of the course renovations. You know, some of the, you mentioned some of the angles and kind of how it might play. Is there a chance this thing just plays easier? Like, is there a chance this course just plays easier?
I think it will. I think because of the rain, it will definitely play easier. But they did do a couple of, I mean, remember, one of the very first things that you read about when you read about this, these golf course changes is that they were designed to make the course better for, not necessarily harder, better for the membership. And that doesn't always mean easier, but it means sometimes more playable. And they definitely added some pinnable locations, so there's more variety. I mean, this is a golf course that operates throughout the year, more so than just for 1 week. So it's not solely designed. Renovations aren't solely done for this event. But with Jack doing the work, I don't think he's making the golf course softer. I don't think he's making it easier. I mean, he's adding length. I don't think he's saying, hey, let's flatten these greens. He wants to challenge these players. And I believe there will still be a significant challenge. But rain will always make a golf course play easier, as long as it's not raining. If it's a soft golf course, these guys they can handle it. And those nuances, the changes in contours, all of that stuff, angles become unimportant. When a golf course is soft, it becomes a completely different test than when it's firm. And I think it takes out all the real true difficulty, or almost all of it anyway. So yeah, I do think there's a really good chance it plays easier this year.
I think 9 under par won it last year, so we'll see how that holds up here in 2021. As KP mentioned, to start the show, Coach, we've got a major championship this week. The Women's U.S. Open heading to Olympic Club. I cannot think of – I love the idea that Olympic Club right across the lake from Harding Park. What a great stretch of golf, and what a great – the game of golf is in such a good spot right now. Some of our Ryder Cup captains who are graduating from the PGA Tour, going to the Champions Tour. We've got the women, we've got the Euros, we've got the Korn Ferry as deep as ever. Golf is in an excellent space right now.
It's in a fantastic space right now. And the LPGA, I think when Michael Wan, who I've only met him a couple of times, but I like to pattern myself after really positive people. I don't know if there's anybody more positive than him. And then when he announced that he was stepping away, I was like, wait, whoa. And then when he announced he was taking over the USGA, okay, that makes sense. Okay, I got it. Because then indirectly, he can still help the LPGA. And so now basically he's going to step in and be a part of all of these championships. The U.S. Women's Open. Also now he'll have a big hand in the U.S. Men's Open. I really think that travel is going to be an issue. They've already done the Asian swing. So I'm going to be interested to see who is rested up last week. Did anybody else not like the fact that there was a match play right before the U.S. Open? I thought that was a little bit weird, to be quite honest with you, not having a stroke play event. But I like the fact that they have so many events now, not just like 18, like 10 years ago or 19. So I'm here for it. A lot of the names, some may not know, but there's some names that are showing up. I like the fact that the quarters are always showing up. And I like when there's 3 or 4 legit stars that show up every week. And that's what we have right now on the women's tour.
Yeah, they opened themselves up with the match play last week for what happened, which is Shanshan Feng conceding her consolation match for 3rd place and saying, you know what, I'm good. I'm going to go play in a major championship next week. They kind of set themselves up for that. KP, Olympic Club, I believe this is going to be the 4th time that the U.S. Women's Open has been held in California. Obviously, it's a place we like to go. We've seen the men on Olympic Club. This is a stout one, and I've seen on social media already the rough is looking thick. It's looking lush. These women are in for it, I think.
Yeah, Olympic's great. I think it's such a good spot for a major championship. You can do so many different things with it. I was reading Jeff Shackelford had some really good stuff on just kind of the nuances of the course and how it's a little it's not Augusta-like, but you always compare places like that to Augusta when they have these uneven lies, and it takes a lot of athleticism to be able to kind of navigate a golf course like that. So Olympic's going to be it's going to be sweet. It's a great course. It's a great venue. I don't know I haven't seen how many fans they're going to be able to have. I think they're going to have some. But man, the U.S. Women's Open is always, I remember watching it last year in Houston, and it's always a ton of fun, and it's great West Coast viewing. I'm really excited about it. Should be great this weekend.
Real quick, I want to jump in. It's a little unfortunate. I thought the USGA would petition the state of California. I live here. And June 15th, everything's wide open. There's going to be no restrictions. And so in 2 weeks, we could have had basically all they wanted, but we still have restrictions right now.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, I was looking. It looks like it's pretty non-committal. This is from 3 hours ago. Somewhere between 25 and 75% capacity. That is not much help, but it's not full. So we'll see. A-Lim Kim going to try to defend her crown, Greg. As Kyle mentioned, it was in Houston last year. Inbee Park's going to try to become the 7th player with at least 3 women's open titles. Lydia Ko back in action. We're going to actually take $10, 10 extra dollars. Jacob has allotted us to make a wager on this later in the show. So you don't have to give out your pick. But again, the game is strong right now. We've seen the women put on a show countless times. And I do like the West Coast viewing because it's going to be essentially in prime time.
Right. And this golf course, I'll just say about the Olympic Club, it brings one word to mind. Some may call this 2 words, but reverse camber. Right, it's a big architect word, which is great fun to watch. So you're going to see the ball chasing all over the place.
Reverse what?
Camber.
Googling it.
Reverse camber.
Is it vanilla or?
This is hole number 14 at Augusta National. This is when a hole doglegs to the left, but the property slopes to the right. You see that all over the golf course. So it all breaks away. And so you really have to shape it with the dog leg, which is cool. It makes for a real shot maker's kind of a golf course. You'll have to work it both ways to hold the fairways.
So Shackelford was talking about that with the 3rd hole, which is actually a par 3, about how the hole requires you to. I think this was the hole. The hole requires you to draw it, but the green is going the other way.
Yeah, and there's a lot of that.
And it's awesome because you got to hit some freaking shots, right? Like you can't. It's not like I'll just feed it down into you got to hit a golf shot, and that's the thing about so many of these women's events, and specifically the big time majors like the U.S. Women's Open is it's such a. There's such a purity to the shots that they're hitting. I mean, just these 6, 7, 5, 4 irons, and it feels like a different game than the men's, and almost like better or at least like pure. What I want to see, which is great iron play, and so I get excited about it. Am I going to watch every shot of the U.S. Women's Open? Probably not, but I am really excited to watch some of it because I think that they put on a great event, and the women that are playing on it put on a really good show, and a different kind than we see on the men's side a lot of times.
Yeah.
Shadow Creek. Sorry, Greg. Shadow Creek last week, Olympic Club this week. Pretty good stretch of courses there.
Yeah, they're moving in the right direction. No question about it. There are so many players that are real stars, like Arya Jutanagarn. I think is somebody you really got to watch out for. She was the beneficiary in the Shanshan Feng situation, where she didn't have to play that match. I do a radio show on Sirius XM in the morning, and today that was the entire conversation. The whole
I bet you people were fired up about that.
Yeah, people were calling in.
Oh,
yeah, of course, the whole time.
Oh, yeah, they were good.
Yeah, it was just a great topic. So they were very unhappy. But
that screams ratings to me.
It was a great topic. I mean, people were bringing up the NCAA. They're bringing up all these other sports. They're bringing up tennis. They're bringing up the NBA came up. It was crazy. So the LPGA is definitely got a little bit of traction with that last week, and it's great heading into this week where you're going to have a really cool golf course. So I like it. I think it's going to be fun.
What that screamed was there wasn't that big of a difference between 3rd and 4th place money.
It was
When they-
23,000.
22 or 23.
There
Yeah,
you go.
so-
There
yeah.
you go. When on the men's, you're talking six figures between third and fourth.
Yeah,
That-
so
which-
I mean that's another thing we discussed, right? How do you solve the problem? Make sure that doesn't happen again. Because all of a sudden, think about you're in broadcasting, coach. You're broadcasting an event. You're prepared to broadcast 4 players, 2 different matches. You got 2 different holes. You got camera crews on multiple holes. All the stuff that goes into covering an event, and all of a sudden, half of them are gone.
It's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster because
Yeah.
it's already a tough thing anyway because you only have 2 groups. And
Right.
we all know at the men's WGC that Sunday kind of stinks, but Thursday, Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday's great. But if you only have one group, holy smokes, on Sunday when you're trying to get ratings and you're probably saying these 2 women are playing and you don't have anywhere to go when they're walking in between their shots, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
Let me go on record by saying I do not care if the coverage has golfers to show or not. I care more about the fact that the schedule came. Like, why would you put this event the week before the U.S. Open? You know they're going to have to play 6 or 7 matches or whatever it is to win the whole thing, and you're asking for this to happen. You're asking for it.
I still think,
That's a good
Rick,
point.
the problem is even though Michael Wan's done an amazing job getting the schedule back full, they still sometimes get caught up in, well, we've got to put an event on this week to make sure this week is not open, to make sure the women have someplace to play, right? It's like when they go over to Asia, they play 4 or 5 weeks at a time, which is different than the men because they have to travel everybody over there. They have to give stipends for the caddies to get there because the money is so different. They can't afford to skip a week. And if this is what Shadow Creek wanted, and this is what they were offering, and I don't know the backstory to it, but clearly there was a reason. But I don't think whatever the reason was, it was the correct decision for them to make.
And I think the other interesting thing, KP, and I want to get your thoughts on this as well, is Shanshan Feng she's almost a victim of her own honesty. Like she is a great quote. She's awesome. She tells you exactly what she's feeling. If she would have said, you know what, I slipped and twisted my ankle and I'm a little worried about it. Maybe no one cares. Maybe we see through it. Who knows? But she's literally said, I've played a lot of golf this week. I want to be ready for the U.S. Open next week. I don't think it's worth it for me. I'm just telling you like it is. She could have easily cited a back injury or anything else, but now she's a victim of her own honesty.
Yeah, she should have called DJ's agent.
Right. Just release a statement and get out of town.
see what he's got in the queue. I don't really have a problem with it. I mean, she played what,
Yep.
6 matches or 5 or whatever. Like you got the Open this week. It's not. I guess it would be one thing if you're playing, Wichita or something.
Oh, now you've just named another. Now they're gonna have a problem with you.
You got to go after my hometown. You got to go after where I grew up. You're taking a direct shot at me. Just take a direct shot at me. What?
Tulsa, I don't know, whatever.
Don't keep naming them.
But it's the Open. I don't. She's not incentivized. Somebody said this. She's not incentivized to continue playing, and I don't. Like, she doesn't care if Golf Channel has anything to show, and she shouldn't. Like, that's not her job. So I don't. I have no problem with it. Are people mad about it?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Furious.
Fuming.
Greg, that has got to be sarcasm. Are you serious? You're serious.
Yeah. Oh, people are extremely upset.
Okay,
Disrespecting the game, coach. People hate it's disrespecting the game.
No,
Hold on, real quick.
You have a little obligation to the tour, right? You start something, you got to finish it, don't you think?
So, Coach, how do you reconcile? Because you've been vocal about DJ and guys like that not showing up at all, right?
Correct.
And I agree with you. It's not great. How do you reconcile that with this, which is you showed up, but you didn't finish the whole week or whatever? How do you reconcile those two things?
See, this is very, very difficult because the finances are different on the LPGA Tour. This comes down to money. Make no mistake about it. If fourth place would have paid, let's just throw it $100,000, and third place paid $225,000, let's say, she would have played that fourth round. Make no mistake about it. But when she's going to get it guaranteed up to within $20,000 of third place, then what's the point? This all comes down to money. It always comes down to money. For DJ, he makes so much outside. It doesn't matter if he shows up. For him, like a lot of star players, they play golf to facilitate their sponsorships outside. And almost their entire schedule is based off what their sponsors wanted to play. Probably half their schedule. So to me, the only way you fix this is if you make first, second, third, fourth way more expensive than the rest of the field. That's the only way you can do it.
What about fining? What if you fine her? Like, could you give her a WD? If you
that
withdraw on the PGA Tour, you get last place money. If you make the cut, if you withdraw on Saturday, you get last place money. Should she get last place money?
Would you rather her go out? Would you rather her go out there and just lay down for 10 holes? I mean,
what if she walks out there and just concedes every single hole and it takes 3 minutes for her to just concede them?
It's the same thing. I mean, it's the spirit of it.
That makes her look bad. That makes her look bad. I don't think this makes her look bad. If she goes out there and every time you tee it up, you guys know this, they want to compete. You get it. Okay, now I'm in competition. That doesn't make her look bad. It makes her actually look good because she's worried about the major. If she lays down, that makes her look bad.
I don't know. I feel like you get an opportunity to get a little bit of the two problems, the two complaints that come out of the LPGA Tour are and this comes from Mike Wan, right? Purses aren't quite as big as they'd like, and TV coverage isn't. There's not enough TV coverage. You have primetime, a rainy Memorial Day weekend, rainy in the Northeast, and you have an opportunity to get on coverage, right? These opportunities are slim. They're more slim than it is for PGA Tour players, and you don't play. I mean, you got a responsibility to Arya Jutanagarn and her fans and her sponsors and your fans and your sponsors, and I mean, you got fans back out there. There's a lot of people that are affected by this. You go to buy. This is what they talk about in the NBA all the time, right? Players, you go to a Brooklyn Nets game and to see Kevin Durant play, and he sits out because he played yesterday, right? So now he's going to sit out because it's not the playoffs. And all of a sudden, you bought this ticket to see this guy play, and he's not playing just because he's tired. And I'm not saying everybody's going out there to watch Shanshan Feng, but maybe they are going to watch Arya Jutanagarn. Maybe that's your favorite player, and all of a sudden, she's too tired.
Maybe
That's the only argument you can make. That's the only argument that you can make is that these athletes have a responsibility for people buying tickets. That's a good argument. It is.
Well, to the TV people who have invested all the money that they've invested into covering the event.
But then some would argue that they don't invest enough. As far as the Golf Channel is concerned, you could argue that they put you're going to show the replays at 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. The guys get 7 p.m. to 12 a.m.
Right, but when you get a chance, my point is you get a chance. You got to take advantage of it, right? There's only two groups on the course.
You're right. You're right. We're not saying you're wrong.
Yeah.
But we also JP saying he doesn't have an issue with her not playing.
If it was KD, he's probably got to reply to some tweets. That's probably why he's sitting out.
You got to hop on the burner.
Can we do the best player in the world?
Yeah.
thing?
So if you want to continue the spicy takes, let's do this because I was texting Kyle. I was texting you earlier. You raised this point, like who's the best player in the world, and I think there's a very strong case for Jordan Spieth. And then after that, I have no idea, and it has been eating me alive. I cannot sleep at night. I don't know the answer. I'm like, it's Morikawa. No, it's Rob. No, it's Charlie Hoffman. No, I don't know. Like you're killing me with this.
So can I clarify? Like, it's easy when you pull back over 12 months or the last 2 years or whatever. Like we're talking very microscopic, like recent stuff, right? And I think I'm fascinated by this idea of like, who's the guy? Like, who's the guy that you got to go through this guy to win this major championship? He's probably not going to win because even the best guys only win 10% of the time or 7% or 4% or whatever. But that, like, if going into
November Masters?
November Masters, you're like, you go through DJ. Right. And he ended up winning. That's kind of atypical. It doesn't normally happen like that. But going into it, I got to be better than DJ right now. And my argument is that there's not really anybody like that right now. And maybe it doesn't matter. I'm intrigued by it. I'm fascinated by just the idea of it. Because normally you have a dude, like you have a guy that you have to get through. And I don't really think that there is right now.
suspects here, Greg, are Jordan Spieth, John Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau, Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas. I could name some more, but like I think in presence, it's Bryson, right? When Bryson tees it up at an event, he gets a lot of the coverage. He gets a lot of the conversation. He's the big boy out there bombing it on the driving range, and everybody stops and watches. When everybody stops and watches somebody on a driving range, that's the guy. Now, his results have not necessarily aligned with that recently, but there's a case to be made. It's Bryson.
Well, I would say Bryson's the player of the year right now. And I don't even really think that's close. He's got 2 wins at a major, and I think he's the clear-cut player of the year. But you're right, the recent form, I don't think you're stepping in there saying that Bryson's going to be really hard to beat. You don't know where he is with his game. You don't know how committed he is to this process right now. He's made a lot of statements that have said, hey, I've questioned this. And he doesn't feel as all in as he once was. So I don't know. I don't really think Bryson's that guy. The closest guy would be... Maybe the closest guy is Spieth, but I think Rahm is probably the closest guy to that. If John Rahm has a good putting week this week and wins this week, I mean, it feels like it could be floodgates because he's hitting the ball so well. And so I don't know. He's had a hard time putting. He's had a hard time around the greens this year, but I don't think that's a unique thing. He's normally very good in that area. So I think Rahm's the closest to that. Even with Spieth, as well as he's played, you always have that there's like that Phil Mickelson-ness to this where you don't know he's going to win. You can't rely on. He does win a lot. He does, but you can't rely on it. It's because it's just it's a wild ride. I mean, you got to buckle your seatbelt every time he tees it up. Phil was that way. Jordan's that way. I didn't see as much of Arnold Palmer, but Arnold Palmer was that way from everything I've read. So that doesn't mean you're not a very good player. It just means you're not like the consistent player that DJ once was.
I think the way that big tournaments have unfolded this year is kind of instructive to the conversation, right? Because even like JT is the best player who's won a big event, or however I'm trying to say that. Like he's the primary guy that's won a big event. But even the way he did it, it was like from behind on the weekend. And it wasn't like, putting a stake in the ground of like, oh, this is JT's year. Right. And then Hideki, you're like, yeah, Hideki had a great week. Now I don't know what else that means for the year. Phil had a great week. He had an iconic week. I don't know if that is meaningful for the rest of the year. So I think the way that those 3 majors have unfolded is very instructive to like kind of the way we talk about have this conversation.
Yeah, I think the way to kind of frame it, Coach, is who's the one that even maybe their peers are like, okay, like I'm gonna have to deal with Brooks this week, or I'm gonna have to deal with Rory this week, or whatever it is. Who is that guy?
I have 2 things. The best player in the world right now is Cameron Young. Let's just be honest. This is a dude.
I like that.
Who, Coach? It's Cameron Young. This is a dude who's won 2 weeks in a row on the Korn Ferry Tour. He's led 8 straight rounds, which is a Korn Ferry Tour record. Think about that for a second. Every round for 8 straight days, he's led 2 weeks in a row. That's unheard of. Never happened before. And so if he wins this week, he'll be automatically graduated to the PGA Tour. This dude's legit. By the way, I have him on my podcast, Cash Out with the Coaches, out tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. Now, to my answer. We're all missing the boat. Normally, on any given year, we would be at the point where we'd be like, JT has 3 wins, DJ has 3 wins. Like, all the big names have big wins. What didn't we have prior to February or March for the last year? What didn't we have? We didn't have fans. We had no fans out there. So the motivation for these top players to show up, and I'm telling you, on Sunday last week, you saw it. You saw the hands get very, very tight for Jason Kokrak. Now, he got the job done, but all of a sudden he's leaking oil all the way down at the end. Now that fans are back, you're feeling the pressure. Rory's been very clear. He goes, I didn't play well because I didn't have that juice. I didn't have somebody pumping me up. I didn't hear the crowd. Bryson somehow delivers the juice by himself. That's why he's motivated. Look at the only 3 players, guys, with multiple wins on the PGA Tour this year. It's not JT. It's not Rahm. It's not G. Am I right? It's Kokrak, Sink,
Big Stu.
Bryson. That's it. Those are the only 3 dudes. So now I think we can draw a line in the sand this week and say we got 14 weeks left before the playoffs. I think you're going to see a big game Hunter win this week, and I think all of these weeks going forward, you're going to see a shift. The man's Bryson. and it's not close, which is why Brooks just lost his mind because he hates the fact that people give Bryson the respect, the attention. He wants it secretly, and he's not having it. Right now, it's Bryson and everybody else, and it's not close.
I agree. Coach. It's Bryson. Coach and I mean, listen, we're very different. I agree, Coach. It is Bryson. So now I put you, Kyle, and you, Greg, your feet to the fire. Pick somebody.
It's Rom for me.
Ooh. That was a quick Rom.
Yeah.
KP.
God.
You have to. It's the law.
I think it's Rom for me. The Bryson thing, like I don't disagree. It might be Brooks, honestly. Like if you should, like when everybody shows up to the U.S. Open, and
you're right, you're right.
If you took a like a what's the lie detector? What am I trying to say?
Polygraph.
If you give everybody a lie detector test, yeah.
They might say Brooks. I think it would be Brooks or Bryson, which is
in a major. They should.
Yeah.
Brooks. They should for Brooks.
The Rom thing, Bryson's been, by the way, just sort of under the radar, not that good over the last, like since he won, really since the Players. He
since
played well
Masters.
at TPC Sawgrass. But I don't disagree necessarily with the angle that you guys are taking on it. Yeah, I guess I would go Rom. Although Rom's finishes are so soft. Like he's had the best overall finishes at Masters Players and PGA. I think his average finish is like 7th. Was he in the mix in any of those?
Nope.
No.
But all of a sudden, if you add a win in there, you throw a win this week. If he wins the Memorial, that looks totally different.
I agree, but he hasn't won the Memorial, so I don't like as of today. I don't know.
Yeah,
Spieth looked like just a total mess on Sunday. So you can't like. I don't know. I don't know if guys are like, I got to get by Spieth. I think it's like I got to get in the same group as Spieth on Sunday, and get past him. So
Spieth's got to get by Spieth.
You're dancing. Pick one.
You are dancing.
No, I said Rom. I think I think the whole point is like it leads to a super interesting summer, which starts this week. Like we have Memorial Day on Monday. We've got 2 huge opens. We've got the playoffs. And I think there's still an opportunity for somebody, honestly, in 10 years from now, we might look back at 2021 and say, wow, Rory owned that year. And nobody would say that on June 1st, but the opportunity is still there for that to happen, which is not, I didn't expect and is normally not true of a given year.
All right. Well, that's 2 for Rom. It's 2 for Bryson. So it means that producer Jacob, do you want to hop on and break the tie for us here?
I'll break the tie. I'm going to go with John Rahm.
Wow.
John.
Rahm's win it.
That feels like we won, KP.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Whoever wins, if one of the big boys wins this week, that's now the guy.
Well, I think Bryson's going to win the U.S. Open, so I think Coach and Rick might have some talking points here in 2.
But what about the Memorial?
We'll replay this in a couple of weeks and see what happens. All right, gentlemen, here's what we've got to do. We've got to do our odds and ends. That's our betting cards and our one and done picks. But first, we are going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners. And we're back. All right, betting cards. This is where we go over to William Hill. We take our $110 this week because we got $10 to allocate for an LPGA winner, and we allocate our funds. We make our picks. And Coach, we're going to start with you. So Jacob is going to pull up your betting card, and I've got it here as well. And I'm seeing 6 different wagers, and I'm going to start with your matchups. They are John Rahm over Jordan Spieth, Victor Hovland over Patrick Cantlay, and the beefy one, Bryson over Rory McIlroy.
Oh, these were so easy. Normally, I don't like to lay 50 cents, but this is just a layup. When you've got Jordan Spieth, who after the round on Sunday said, I had no clue where my ball was going. You think 4 days later, he's going to have a clue where that ball is going? Now, he might, but I'm not banking on it. And this is a place where John Rahm dominated a year ago. And I think he is motivated. I think he is sick and tired of being passed over as far as people are not talking about him. I just think Spieth does not have a good week because it took so much out of him last week. That was an easy one. Cantlay's just playing bad golf. I'm good with fading him every week until he shows me something different. I think Hovland could win this week, so this is an easy one. And then I think Rory, the Wells Fargo was an outlier, and we saw that at the PGA Championship. He hasn't quite figured everything out because he made so many putts at the Wells Fargo. So I think he still stumbles. I think Bryson really wants to be ready. He's going to take the week off next week, so I think he's motivated this week as well.
Your final three wagers, Bryson back at it, a top 10. You got that at plus 163. You took Hideki Matsuyama as your top Asian player at plus 150. And Patty Harrington, how about this? Top Great Britain and Irish player at 16-1, coach.
If I get one tweet from anybody, the coach you said play Padraig Harrington, let me be clear. This is an absolute flyer. An absolute flyer, which is why I only put $5 on it. But if I win, going to win a lot of money. Yeah, he said at the PGA Championship, I want every course to be difficult because I play better. I play better when it's like this. This is going to be difficult this week. Now, he has to beat Rory. He has to beat a lot of big-name dudes. But, again, this is a little bit of a flyer. The other two, very, very bullish on. Hideki is going to play well. He's over the getting back from Japan thing. He's settled back in. Top Asian player. He only has to beat the likes of Sunjay, Siwoo Kim, and CT Pan. Those are the three biggest names he's got to beat. I think he's okay. And then Bryson, I think Bryson could compete for the win this week. So to get some value, I went to the top 10, and I'm still getting almost plus 165.
The interesting thing about Patty as top GB and I player, it's Rory McIlroy, it's Fitzpatrick, it's Lowry, Wallace, Knox, Laird, Willett, Joe Long. So that's the same odds to beat 8 guys as Rory McIlroy has to win the golf tournament.
That's exactly right. And I thought about that. That's a great point. And sometimes people don't look at that. And it's worth a little bit of a flyer because guess what? He would have won this bet at the PGA.
Yeah. Yeah, he would have.
All right. Okay. So it's not that far-fetched.
Coach's best bet is the Bryson top 10 at plus 163. And we're going to pull up Greg's card, the real GFD. He is not the fake. He is not the faux GFD. He is the real GFD. And this is a nice, tight card. 5 bets, $20 a piece. Let's start with this one. Kyle Stanley, top 20. It's your best bet. It's 3.5-1.
Oh, you want to start at the bottom? Okay.
Well, yeah, because the rest of them are matchups. So
Kyle Stanley owns this place.
He owns this place. I can't believe we talked about it yesterday on the. I can't believe this guy's 6,100 on DraftKings. He lost in a playoff just 2 years ago to Ben On. Ben On was in the playoff, and I think it was Bryson who actually won that year. But Kyle Stanley made like birdie on the last 4 holes to get into it. He owns this place, and he came in tied 8th last week. His record has been great as of late. Kyle Stanley's going to play really well this week. It asks you to be accurate off the tee. He is. It asks you to hit greens. He is. So I love Kyle Stanley this week. It is my best bet. I'm extremely bullish on that one.
You have 3.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, which one do you want to go to next?
Oh, okay, let's do your Hideki bet. So you have Hideki in a 3-ball over Patrick Cantlay and Corey Connors, and you have Hideki plus 105 over Xander Schauffele.
Yeah, I'm expecting really good things from Hideki this week. As we talked about yesterday as well, I think iron play and around the green play are going to be extremely important. And Hideki is very strong in both of those areas. He's known for a guy who's on team no putt, which is definitely true. And it's something that he struggles with. Putting is an area he struggles, but it kind of leaves this impression that he's not very good around the greens. Like all he is a ball striker, but he has a very good, near elite short game. And I think he proved that at the Masters. So I'm all in on Hideki. I love what he's 35th around the green, 19th approach the green. That is among the best combinations in those two areas in the game. So let's see. With Xander, I just don't know where Xander is right now. Xander's definitely a risky one, but you get plus money in that one. So I really like the odds on that because I don't really trust Xander, and I really like Hideki, clearly. Cantlay, as Coach said, there's a chance that he plays really well, but I'm not so sure the PGA Championship was... I mean, there were a lot of players who have been struggling in the PGA who played really well. Padraig Harrington, Ricky Fowler, there are a lot of guys, and I'm not sure that because you played well in the PGA means you're going to play... It means your game's in really good form. I guess what I'm saying is there are a lot of ways to kind of do well at Kiowa, and I don't think that's the case here quite as much. So I think he can take down Cantlay. And then Corey Connors, he struggles in the short game area, although he's hitting the ball so well. So that one makes me a little bit nervous. But I think he will. I do think he'll beat Corey Connors this week, even though it'll be tight.
I thought Jacob was going to hit you with a Ricky Fowler drop, and then to round out
Yes.
Thank you. To round out your three balls here, it's Rahm over McIlroy and Colin Morikawa, Spieth over Bryson and Thomas.
Yeah. I said, I think Rahm is really a good putting week away from getting a win. So I don't feel that way with Rory McIlroy. Colin Morikawa may be in that same boat, but I'm guessing that Rahm's going to have a better putting week than Morikawa. So I think that's a really interesting one. And Jordan Spieth, I think his game's just in better form than Bryson and Justin Thomas. And I trust him more in a strange way. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I mean, how can you? It's hard to imagine Spieth not contending this week. So it's his third week playing in a row. I think it's going to be a good one for him. So I'm going to go with Spieth.
It's hard to imagine him playing on the Corn Ferry Tour with the way he hit it on Sunday.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's not that hard to imagine, Greg.
Greg,
I think that's a unique situation. I don't think that's a golf swing problem, right? I think that was he overthought
under the gun Sunday. Yeah. He hasn't played well on Sundays. That was kind of a storyline that emerged. By the way, real quick, there was somebody in the comments section. Do you think if Rory putted blindfolded, it would be bad for him? Rory's a plus putter over the last 6 months and over the last 12 months. So that's actually not to be actually guy, but that hasn't really been the issue for him.
Maybe it'll be better though. He could be even more of a hot positive. If he just posts his eyes. Who knows? Greg, did you spend your $10 on an LPGA winner?
I haven't yet, but I'll spend it on Brooke Henderson.
Greg, did you spend, Coach, did you spend yours?
I'm going to go Lydia Ko.
Oh, I also went with Lydia Ko. I'll spoil mine right now. The Kiwi is back. She struggled at this event. She's got 2 majors. She's back. I went with Lydia Ko as well. Yeah, I think she was 14-1 when I saw it. All right, I'm going to run through my betting card here real quick as Greg figures out his LPGA bet. So
I just told you, Brooke Henderson.
Oh, I'm sorry. Brooke Henderson to win. Do you have odds on that?
Yeah, she's. I have them right here. Stand by. She's 25-1.
25-1 on Brooke Henderson. Wow, it's a good number. All right, here's my betting card very quickly. I have Lydia Ko to win. I'm sticking with my strategy of piling up the matchups. That has been successful. Hideki Matsuyama over Xander Schauffele. We've talked ad nauseum about Hideki, and then I went with Morikawa over Justin Thomas. I'm a little bit worried about the way he's striking the ball right now. That's JT I'm referring to. And then I took Keegan Bradley, if you would let me bet that Keegan Bradley is going to win one of his next 5 starts, I would take that. I don't know when it's coming. He doesn't know
what kind of
odds. Well, he's probably going to be like 40-1 every week. So give it to me at 8.
20? 10, 8?
I take 8, right. I'm kind of gets divided by 5.
Okay.
I'll tell you this much. You should feel very, very good about your Morikawa over JT. I watched him hit. Well, I called every single shot for 3 rounds of the 4 rounds last week. And when I'm telling you guys, he doesn't know where his ball, he's getting double crossed. He doesn't know where he's going. And on courses where there's a little bit dog legs and it's not straight, he's really, really struggling, and his putter is just as bad as I've ever seen it.
I saw him blade like 3 wedges.
Yeah,
right?
I think
I've never
JT's
seen that before out of him.
JT's swing is so good and simple that when it's bad, it looks horrendous. I think it looks worse than it actually is because his normal stuff is so good and so straightforward.
I know this is completely off topic, but since we're talking JT, how much do we think the check was that he handed Michael Vasecki to help with? Do you know?
Rick knows.
No, I don't know, but I have a very good guess.
What do we all think it is?
I'll go last.
Okay, I'll start then. If people who don't know, the incredible viral video of the Michael Vasecki crying when he got into the event a few weeks ago, he got into this one on a sponsor's exemption, and then JT handed him a personal check and said, "I want you to continue on with your dream." But he just handed it to him, gave him a hug, and that was it. I'm going to say it was at least $100,000. KP?
KP?
It might have been like a coupon for a free bucket of balls at Medalist or something.
IOU round on me later.
Who can say? I think 20.
I think 20.
Greg?
Yeah, Man, 100. It seems like a lot. It's so hard. I don't know. I guess I'll say 10. I think it was 10 grand.
I do not know the answer to this.
Okay.
I think it was 25,000. That's the number that I think. I think anything more than that, 100 grand, coach, is like, that's a lot. Now it's like but like 5 is too little for someone like JT, or 10 I think is too little. I think 25 is the right number.
You know, I
could
actually
buy that. I could go up to that.
But it has to make a difference.
25
really
would make a huge difference.
Yeah, 25 would be meaningful for this year, for 2021. It wouldn't
He
be
just
like
bankrolled
a
him for the
career
rest of the
changer.
year. He just bankrolled his rest of the season or rest of the year.
Well, yeah, it's about $2,000 a week to travel. And then if you're paying for a golf coach, I guess 25 would make a difference. 100 would make it a lot more difference. Well, a lot bigger difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would make 4 times the difference.
It's going to get out. It's going to get out, and it'll get out. It'll get out.
Yeah. It'll get out. KP, do we have to get you out of here? What do you got?
I want to roll through my card.
I'm sorry.
So we'll get KP's card, and we'll get KP's one and done.
Oh, okay. We'll do that real quick.
We'll get him out of here. Okay, Jesus. Top 20s. Keegan, Fitzpatrick, Hovland. Talk me through those.
Keegan, I'm way in on. Fitzpatrick has been really, really good recently. And remember, he finished in the top 5 or 6 here last year. He might have finished T4 with bones on the bag. Cantlay, I used rickrungood.com to tell me that he has been an unlucky putter recently.
True.
And he kind of popped out. Coach was right. He's been pretty bad, but he did pop up at the PGA. So I think there's some encouragement there.
Top 10, excuse me. Let's do your matchups here. So McIlroy over Bryson. That's a big boy one.
Yeah, Bryson doesn't have very many top 10s, and I think he has 1 top 10 in his last 5 starts. I'm just taking Rory because it's plus money. And then I've got 3 outrights to win, $5 each. Keegan, Charlie Hoffman, Shane Lowry. All of them are flushing it right now, and it's just kind of like sprinkling on maybe this will happen.
We are very much on the same page, KP. You are currently in second in the one and done. We're just going to get your pick right now, and we'll get you out of here.
I think I'm going Keegan. Keegs. Greg might talk me into Kyle Stanley, but I don't have a ton of big guns left, so you might be able to get away with one. I'm saving Bryson for Torrey. I think I might be able to get away with Keegan here, unless I wouldn't
waste Kyle Stanley here.
Yeah, save him for a bigger event. You still have him available, but you will not make up any ground on me because I will also tell you that I'm taking Keegan Bradley. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
KP, thank you very much. Get out of here. Goodbye. You can follow Kyle Porter
KP.
at Kyle Porter CBS, and we will catch him next time. And we're going to continue here because we'll just wrap up our one and done, gentlemen. So let's go through this. So, Coach, as you know, you get to go first. You have the dubious.
Stop with the fake sympathy. The whole fake Rick Run good sympathy voice. I'm tired of. Just say it straight. I suck, and that's fine. But stop with the sympathy voice.
The dubious honor of getting to go first. You are coming off Will Zalatoris. He got you 16,875. This is your pick for the Memorial.
To add insult to injury, we had Zalatoris in the PGA Tour Live featured group. So watching him miss putt after putt, I was screaming. And like my partner, Mark Wilson was like, what's the matter with you, Coach? I haven't won it. Anyway, I'm going to go Victor Hovland. I think he could compete for the victory. I haven't used him yet. So I'm going to go Victor Hovland this week.
Victor Hovland for the coach. Jacob actually was the big winner last week. Jacob, you are on a roll right now, sir. In your last 5, you've earned $878,000. You got $400K from Charlie Hoffman. Look at this. He's coming on. He wants his praise. He doesn't just voice it in. He's like, let me show you my face, my winning face.
Well, I'm going to show you a losing face here because I am out of anyone to use with, like, I think pretty much the only guy I could use this week would be Rory McIlroy, which I'm just not going to roll out. So looking at the odds, I like to cross-reference the odds and see, who's at the top of the odds board and then who I have left. And I don't think I have anyone besides Rory shorter than like 40-1. So
you're going deep.
So this strategy is going quite well, huh?
Yeah. I mean, like we said last week, we're nursing this thing over the finish line, which we're all in that same boat. But I think Greg sold me on Kyle Stanley. I think on principle, I
think it's a great play.
I gotta
By the
stand
way-
for Stanley. You know.
By the way, we're all putting in real money when the new season starts in September because I will be here from the start. So this actually hurts because right now, all that hurts is you guys making fun of me. But I need it to hurt in the pocketbook. So we're gonna put. I don't care if it's 500. I don't care what it is. But this whole making fun of the coach with nothing hurting anybody else, I'm done with it.
Jacob, while we have you,
All
should
right.
we be getting a cut of JT's pip with all the talk of?
Yeah. Well, I think Coach should for bringing it up. I mean, we already had it last week, on the show. So he just brought it back in again. We're getting a cut of JT's pip. So
Love it. We'll invoice him.
We'll invoice.
Greg, you're up next, sir. You have dropped to fourth, although it is very tight. Just a couple of $100,000 between you and second place. You're coming off a week in which you used Matt Kuhar, or at least that's what it says in the outline. I assume that's Kuchar. And he didn't do much for you. 18,000. And who are you going with this week? And if you say Kyle Stanley.
No, I'm not going to say Kyle Stanley. Again, I think that there's still 2 majors left in the year, so I'm not going to go with Kyle Stanley this week, but I am going to go with a major champion, Gary Woodland. I think Gary Woodland is really coming around, coming into form. He's starting to play a little bit better. I think he has the power to compete out here, and I think he fits the mold of a Memorial champion. So I think Gary Woodland is quickly rounded into form.
I gotta throw something in here. Sepp Straka is still on the board.
Oh, really?
For everyone but Coach.
Oh, I haven't.
He's not on my board.
Coach's first 3 picks: Xander Schauffele, Russell Henley, Sepp Straka. Jacob from the top row.
That was stiff, Jacob. That was stiff.
He's feeling good.
Oh
He's
my
made a lot of money in the one and done. He's no longer like equal with you now, so he's feeling like he could just throw,
Yeah.
Apparently.
punch down.
The jeweler is just cracking today.
That is unbelievable. Sorry, Greg. Who did you wind up on? I can't even remember.
I think, what did I say? Sepp Straka? No, I said Gary Woodland.
Gary Woodland.
Gary
Thank you, sorry.
Woodland, yeah, former U.S. Open champion, so you can mark it down. It's in the sheet anyway. So, yeah, I'm expecting good things.
Okay, that leaves Mark just ahead. We don't know who Mark will go with. I don't believe. Actually, we might. Yes, we do.
He just texted me and said he'll let us know Thursday morning.
No, it's in the outline. It says Colin Morikawa, so I'm assuming he texted.
I think he's on the hook for it at this point. If he's already played him or something, I think he's on the hook for it.
Yeah, he did. He is going with Colin Morikawa. And I did not cross-reference, actually, if he already picked him. But
He has not. He's good
I don't
to
think
go.
so. So
All right, Morikawa
All right, so
it is.
Mark is going to go with Morikawa. Kyle and myself both going with Keegan Bradley. Will not be making up any grounds on me this week, but the rest of you certainly can. Obviously, make sure to follow at First Cut Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Plenty more content. We'll publish the best bets. We'll publish the picks to win, top 10 predictions, all that good stuff. But gentlemen, this has been our mega preview pod. Anything else before we get out of here? No? I think we're
Great
good.
being with you guys. Good to see you again, Coach.
Jacob,
Uh-oh, jeweler.
you're on mute. Is this your
You're on
first
mute.
podcast?
You're muted.
I got one more thing. Kyle never gave out his U.S. Women's Open pick. He's going
Do we
with
know who it is?
Hey, at least we haven't used one
Patty
yet.
T.
Oh, Patty T.
Tana Cavakit.
There you
Wow.
go. Better
Well
job than
done.
I would have done. Patty T. All right. That'll do it. Thank you. Big thanks to Jacob. He's not only doing all the hard work behind the scenes, he's doing it in front of the scenes as well. Kyle Porter, we already talked him out of this. Greg DuCharme, you can find on Twitter at The Real GFD. That's the coach. You can find him at The Coach Rules, and you can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut, and we'll catch you next time.